Yahoo and its celebrity CEO Marissa Mayer may be getting reassigned. She is trying to keep it all together, even as the company may be broken apart. A day after Yahoo announced plans to spin off its core business, there's word that the whole company could be for sale. Tal Raeside from Insight Strategic Services is here to discuss the future of Mayer and Yahoo. And the real question, Tal, is where does Yahoo go from here? It seems to be lost at sea.
Yes, they tried to spin off Alibaba, and for tax reasons that didn't work. So they said, let's do the opposite and spin off Yahoo. So they're taking the internet business and they're trying to find a buyer. And they're going to shop it around. Even though the board says that's not their objective, they're going to shop it around, and probably within a year there'll be a transaction.
Yeah, they say that's not their objective. What they're trying to do really is spin it off into two separate companies. There's the Alibaba portion, and then there's the rest of the portion. Are they going to be successful at that, especially when some say the core internet business is valued at zero, which is hard to really understand?
It's below zero, in fact. So if you take their stake, 15% in Alibaba, which they bought for $1 billion, is now worth $31 billion.
That was their best transaction in a decade.
Best transaction ever. Thank you, Terry Semel.
Right.
Take that plus the Yahoo Japan, which
Former
is
CEO,
about
Terry Semel.
Yes, which is about $7 billion. You got a $38 billion. The market today valued them at just shy of $33 billion, and they've got about $6 billion sitting in cash. So the market values their core business as negative. So that's why this is a smart move, actually, is to separate the Asian investments and the core business. Now, think about this. The core business has 1 billion monthly users, 600 million mobile users, and about 210 million just using email.
But the knock on Marissa Mayer and the company is that they really aren't monetizing those numbers very effectively, that they have all of these eyeballs and that they have sort of hopscotched around, if you will, trying to find a business model that works.
You're right. But that's not a negative valuation, right? That's got to be valued at something,
yeah.
Right? That's not negative billions of dollars, right? They still have $5 billion in revenue. They still make money. They still have eyeballs. They still have a ton of data. They still have original content.
So why do they need to find someone to buy it? Why can't they solve this problem themselves?
They tried. They brought in Marissa Mayer, who was a star at Google.
She was.
And they gave her 3 years. And really, they've made a few acquisitions, but essentially, they haven't turned it around, and the market is not recognizing that value. It's easy to value Alibaba. It's easy to value Yahoo Japan. So when you back out those values, the market is still saying it's negative.
Let's look at a comparable internet company, if you will, that sort of fell on hard times, which was AOL. AOL eventually, Tim Armstrong eventually found a buyer for that thing with Verizon. Is Yahoo going to be looking at something similar?
Yes, absolutely. That was a $4.4 billion transaction. So just to put it, the numbers in perspective, people are saying that the valuation will be in the $3 to $8 billion range. My personal bet,
only $3 to $8 billion for Yahoo.
For Yahoo, ex Alibaba and Yahoo Japan, right? My guess is it'll be at the higher end of that valuation, and they'll be looking at folks like AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, IAC, folks either in the telecom or in the media business. Potentially, private equity could come in and sniff it out and maybe take it as a turnaround. But
should we be bothered by, Silicon Valley has been accused of sexism, and should we be bothered by the fact that a lot of this is on Marissa Mayer basically saying, well, she has a family to raise, she's distracted, she's not focused. You never hear this about a male CEO, but that's the stories that are being spun right now.
And that's unfair. She was the youngest CEO of a Fortune 500 company at 37. She works very hard. She's very dedicated. You can talk about her results, but I don't think her family has any influence on her results. So the fact that she's going on maternity leave again, she was back 2 days after something like that, after she gave birth. So put that aside. I think you need to judge Marissa Mayer strictly on her performance and strictly on unlocking the value.
And she was dealt a very bad hand of cards here.
She was.
Because it's hard to keep executives. They're all going to startups. Google is obviously going to attract people as well.
That's right. And she cut back on some of the policies like staying at home and working from home. Well, people would disappear for weeks. So she said, look, you have to come back to the home office. You have to show up. You have to do work.
May not make her popular, but she's trying to get people to come in.
Absolutely. So I think she's getting a bad rap for some of the lack of progress, let's say.
We have 15 seconds left or so. 1 year from now, what does Yahoo look like?
Yahoo's part of a bigger company, either in the telecom world or in the media world.
And saving the company in some way.
Yes, cutting expenses and saving the company.
Tal, thank you so much.